personality is remodified, reformatted by language. Then by language means by new laws of kinship and society, and they are parallel. So this is the new Freudian teaching. The ego, according to them, as reality principle in the perception consciousness system, they teach another thing, destructive and even suicidal force of the ego in the theory of narcissism. But read them together. I wrote them in a great hurry. The question that the new Freudians say that every man is self-interested. Let me remind you here one quotation from Karl Marx. He says, what is the principle of the bourgeoisie? He said, they are dominated by four things. They are guided by principles of freedom, equality, property, and Bentham. What does Bentham mean? The discoverer of the utilitarian system, which means self-interest. So man is guided by, first, freedom for everybody, then equality, fine, this is French Revolution, then property, and finally, self-interest. All of us are self-interested. This is given this fancy name in psychoanalysis, reality principle. We are all after the reality principle. For example, যদি একটু বেশি ব্যথা পান তখন ফিরে আসেন, বলে কেন? মজার জন্য গিয়েছিলাম, ব্যথা পেলে ফিরে আসছি। এটা রিয়ালিটি প্রিন্সিপল। খাইতে চাইছিলাম কিন্তু গলায় লেগে গেছে, ছেড়ে দিলাম। This is called reality principle. Reality principle এর বিপরীত থেকে একটু পরে আসবে pleasure principle. You will see the ego as a reality principle in the perception consciousness system. This is the proposition of the new Freudians. Our system is, there is an outer system. That is why whenever it came to Bengali, everybody said obocheton. They did not simply understand what does unconscious mean. Everybody said obocheton. In spite of the fact that Mr. Girindra Shekhar Bosu used the word nirgyan. They rejected it and they call it obocheton. And then now after I arrived in the scene, 50 years after Lakan, in 2003, exactly 50 years after Lakan, I said that it should be called Ogyan. But their Gyan system says that everybody is guided by the selfishness. Selfishness is called reality principle. But at the same time, because Freud said so, they were confused. They said that, but we also see some people when they are insulted, many girls commit suicide. I'm sorry, not only girls, many boys also commit suicide. So this is called, there is another force within the ego which is called destructive and suicidal tendency. On the one hand, we are selfish, so we want to save our skin. And on the other hand, sometimes we commit even suicide. And there are many, even in my classes, I find some very frank students. One told me that, last year, sir, I committed suicide. Because that lady rejected me. I would like now to show her that I am someone. I'm so, okay, I will make you help. I will help you make yourself fit. Yeah. And this is known as theory of narcissism. We are all narcissases. Narcissus is what we call nargis in Farsi. In Greek, it is called narcissus. It's a small flower, and there is a whole Greek myth, the man who only loved himself. So there are, if you love yourself too much, like Narcissus, you commit suicide. And sometimes if you are too cunning, you don't fall in love at all. You only marry according to your parents' prescription. So these are the story. Now Lakan says this is a falsification of Freud's discovery. Here is the story of the return to, I'm still in the return to Freud section. Now Lakan comes with his own theory. I'm in the third stage of my presentation. I divided my presentation into 4 stages. This is the third stage. Lakan wrote a paper when he was younger, in 1936, the year he became a member. There he said how the child grows. The paper was called Mirror Stage. He waited long. After 13 years, he published this paper in 1949. Those of you who have a book called Écrit by Jacques Lacan, small one, the first essay is this, the mirror stage as the formative principle of I, or ego. He doesn't say ego, he writes I in English, and in French the word is jo, J-E. You will see this here. Mirror stage. Lacan says that the child, after the child is born, the parents take him in low, everybody, him or her in labs, and they say Amar Shona Re, Jadure, all kind of words are said. He learns from his parents, they call him Shona, so he thinks that he's the Shona. But later on when he says that there is something other matter called Shona, he becomes frustrated. He says, why there are 2 kinds of Shona? And then he discovered this is called metaphor. That means I can be called Shona and the Shona can be called Shona too. And also in Bangladesh, words you find Shona Shona Shona, loke bole Shona Shona noy joto khati, bolo joto khati tar cheye khati amar Bangladesher mati. So you see, language is it. Lakan is precisely telling us this. The child discovers its own image in a mirror. and gets completely fascinated with it. But what is the problem in taking a look at yourself? Now you see, what is the in Bengali word for aina? Aina is aina. There is another old Sanskritic Bengali called darpan. Did you notice that? Just বুড়া আঙ্গুল দিয়ে নটা চেপে ধরেন তো আর কি থাকে দর্প মানে কি গৌরব অহংকার অহম মানে কি আমি আমি মানে কি ইগো এটা নামে ইগোটিজম ওই আয়নার নামই হচ্ছে ইগোটিজম where you for the first time see yourself. Imagine your father is holding you in his laps, in his arms, and both of you are looking yourselves in the mirror. You are seeing two things. Your father is your first mirror, and when you see your father in a mirror, it's a mirror in a mirror. Our whole life is a series of mirrors in a mirror. And each mirror is distorts. How? Your left side becomes your right side becomes your left side, but you never notice it. You think that you are the whole. That little distortion, that is called necessary lie, is here. The child discovers his own image in a mirror and gets completely fascinated with it. He thinks that this is I. Because father tells me, Abba, Abba, ota ke? But ota tumi. Then he thinks that is me. Let me tell you a short story from a great painter. Mukul De, the famous painter who was teacher of S.M. Sultan in Calcutta Art College principal. In his autobiography, he writes that he's from Manikganj, Dhaka. Then one day, after 30 years, he invited his grandmother to his home. He's a painter, he had big weapons. His grandmother comes to his room and then returns quickly. Then after many weeks, the grandmother asks her grandchild, Mukul, তোমার রুমে আমি যখন যাই সঙ্গে সঙ্গে আরেকটা মেয়ে আসে, ওটা কোথা থেকে আসে? Who is this lady who enters along with me? And তোমার বাড়ি থেকে আরেকটা বুড়ি আছে? কারণ grandmother in 30 years never saw her in a mirror in rural area. So she thought that this old man cannot be herself. So mirrors are very distorting and sometimes they are enlightening. This represents for the child the image of itself as a unified, controllable body. It is an image which will govern his relations with other children, turning them frequently into games of master and slave, actor and spectator. When, for example, you want to command everybody, nobody listens to your command. But when you want to command your picture, it listens to your command. If you want to close it, it gets closed. If you get out of the mirror, it gets out of the mirror, and the child enjoys this game. So I will not make much reference here to this master and slave, actor and spectator. This will need a second round. If you have time, I will come back to them. So mirror stage is essential in the way of all ego. The problem is that this is not just one bizarre child. All children go through this stage. We all have gone through this stage. But problem is that it remains with us. The famous Friedrich Nietzsche somewhere said, man's tragedy is that he was once a child. I said, no, that's not the tragedy. He always remains a child. That is the tragedy. Then you will see what happens. Here, the rejection of reality is obvious. Now understand, ego psychology or New Freudian psychology claim that we are run by two principles. One is the reality principle, the other is the theory of narcissism. That means even sometimes we are driven by reality, sometimes we even commit suicide. But now Lakan says, look at this mirror phase of the child, which is every child. These things are happen. Children do not follow the reality principle. What is the proof? Hazrat Musa. Musa is called Musa Kalimullah, my father's name. Why? Because he took a burning piece of coal and put it in his mouth. The child doesn't understand this, so he became a bit problematic to talk for him. That is why he has been given this honorific name. Kana cheler naam Poddolochon. Musa, who could not speak, he always blabbered. That's why he was called Musa Kalimullah. That means he is the voice of God. Actually, he could not, because as a child, the child cannot distinguish between what is fire and what is beautiful. Pipilikar pakhaute muribar tore. Children are pipilikat up to a certain stage. That's why they defy the reality principle. They run into danger. Children do not know that if he falls on the street, he will die. But he tries to take the risk. This is killed, Lakan says. Here, the rejection of reality is obvious. For one, why I say obvious? There are two things. The reality of one's own sporadically controlled, partially perceived body is substituted for the image of a unified, controllable one. I dropped something like for here. For the reality of one's own sporadically controlled body is substituted. Secondly, for the image of a unified, controllable one, And for the real recalcitrant individuals in one's peer group, one attempts to substitute an obedient image of oneself. My friends are recalcitrant, they don't obey my order. Because I want to order them, hey, go there. He doesn't go, but I have to go. But I cannot even go. My whole body is not under my control. The motor coordination of the body and the mental coordination of the body are two different ideas. The image obeys, but the body does not obey. Likewise, my image obeys, but my friends don't obey. So in this game which the child plays, we have this situation. So this is only in the mirror stage. Now the mirror stage is over. When the child is 12 months to 18 months old, the mirror stage is over. Then the child starts to speak. That means mirror stage remains, but he now acquires a new thing. What is it? I earn something. I can have a name, I can speak, I can call mother, dadi, etc. But what I lose, I do not know. When children attain to the language, they earn something. But what do they lose? They never know. But they feel that something has been lost. Let us call it innocence. You lost your innocence. Now you remain for the whole of your remaining life. Throughout, you will keep looking for what you have lost. There is a space, but there is nothing there. That is called the unconscious. And you keep missing it, and that is called desire. I give you a definition of desire. Desire is your longing for that what you have lost from the time of your innocence, or when guilt becomes. This is the biblical myth. When Adam and Heaven were in Eden, they were in the imaginary phase, in the mirror phase. Image and mirror are the same thing. So imaginary means mirror phase. Then when you come to the earth, you are awakened to the crude and rude reality of this earth. Now you have to go to the toilet. Yes, you have to give birth. You have conceived now. So the earth is the only place, is the labor room. And that's why God told them, go there and by the sweat of your brow, earn your grains. So it is here. So is linguistic development. Abstract nature of language, we all know. What is the benefit of abstract language? I am talking to you in abstract language. It is written in abstract language. What is the benefit of theory, Center for Advanced Theory? This is the benefit. Abstract nature of language, which makes human knowledge possible, amounts to a similar denial of reality. There could not have been a language without denial of reality. For example, I say, man. You can ask me as well. In all magnanimity, you can ask me, show me a man. There is no man. There is Musa, there is Isa, there is Shahnawaz, there is Apon, or there are only men. But all abstractions are necessarily a little bit distortions of reality. So this is what abstract nature of language amounts to, a similar denial of reality, like the child denies reality by looking at his mirror image. Reality is harsh, but the image is soft. Reality is left, but the image is right. Imposition of single forms or terms on varieties of experience enables us to know and control our environment. The hackers know it very well. If you can enter into it, you can get all the money of the bank. You see? And it is essential to intellectual development too. Language, that is why those who are well versed in math, that is why 100 years ago almost, Einstein could say that there are gravitational waves. But at some point, he himself started doubting it. Are there? Probably I made a mistake. Now, American scientists, they say that, oh, we have found a Big Bang. There is gravitational wave. Otherwise, how time and space merge into each other? What he conjectured was on the basis of simple theory, a mathematical equation. That's how we know. When we say a straight line equation, one power. When the equation has a second power, then it becomes a curve. And third power is cube. And what is the fourth power? We cannot demonstrate it exactly like this. Environment and essential to intellectual development. So here comes our famous pleasure principle. Probably you will find there is a Freudian essay that I teach at the end of my course, GED 447. It's called Beyond the Pleasure Principle. Here is the pleasure. First of all, you have to know what is the pleasure principle. The unconscious follows the pleasure principle. Reality principle means compromise. Pleasure principle means lie. The pleasure principle is lie. That's why we say, what is perversion? Perversion is the French connotation called perversion. Per means father. When Indira Gandhi once, when she was 14 years old, wrote a letter to Jawaharlal Nehru, who was in prison at that time, said, Abba, tell me what is sin? Pap kake bole? Nehru, from jail, what he can write to his 14-year-old daughter, said that, Ammu, এমন কিছু করবা না যেটা তোমার বাবাকে বলতে পারবা না ওইটাই পাপ। সো আমরা করি কি, একটা কাজ করি বাবাকে বলি আরেকটা। দিস ইজ কল্ড perversion. Perversion মানে what you do, you don't publish it. So here is the question. It is a bit pervert pleasure principle. Pleasure, what your mind really wants, you do that, but you pretend that you are not doing it. You are not telling it to your father and mother. So he said, yet this essential function of language, which is abstraction from reality. You all understand abstraction, we call bimurto. Reality যদি মূর্ত হয়, আপনি মূর্তিটাকে মেরে ফেলেন, তাই একটা বিমূর্ত বলে। আর abstraction literally means subtraction. বিয়োগ করাটাকে abstraction বলে। Theory means you are subtracting from the rich details of reality. So yet this essential function of language can apply all its powers of displacement, condensation, transfer to a denial of reality governed entirely by the pleasure principle. Now you see, these are the terms Freud used, not Lakan. What? Displacement and condensation. When you say one thing in place of another, that is displacement. When you say many things together in one, like imagine the image. This is the image Freud uses. There are two rail lines. There is a crossing. So trains are coming from both lines. One can wait, the other can pass. There are crossing in junctions. If you go to Akhaura, or you will see this. Sometimes accidents can happen unless the trains are waiting. In our thought also, simultaneously various lines of thoughts are going on. And from thinking of one line may bypass on another line. And this happens frequently through the conscious and the unconscious system. I'm not giving you that picture. In 1896, Freud wrote a letter to his friend Wilhelm Fliess. It is available in Freud's collected works, but it was so shameful that his editors expand some of the lines. Because he was telling the truth about what he was thinking about his, what is called parents and etc. But we can guess from where that there are different lines of thought. One is the outer line, it is perversion, father's version. There is one real version. Real version is this, the pleasure principle. The pleasure principle is not reality principle. It is the opposite of that. Okay. Now the question is, these words, take a look at this, displacement. Lacan will later call it the linguistic figure of metonymy. And condensation, Lacan will say it is equivalent to what's also called metaphor. So metaphor and metonymy is already there. This transference, this also has linguistic transference. Transfer, and it will become in psychoanalysis when you fall in love with your analyst. Oh, he said, oh, Lacan is so smart a man. He was called by his enemies a lady killer because hundreds of women were falling in love with him on the same day. Lacan said, yes, I can possibly love all of you, but I cannot fall in love with all of you. Here is the problem. This is called transference problem. And comes here. Now is the unconscious. When there is a reality principle above and you are compromising and you are hiding something by being guided by this principle. Our time is probably up. Thank you, Shahnaz Kabir, for blessing us with your presence. Okay. So that thus is constituted the forgotten language of the unconscious. The unconscious is constituted by that pleasure principle. It sends it to one place, you do it, because you enjoy it. The archaic, I'm using different terms again and again. The unconscious is the forgotten language, the unconscious is an archaic language, lurking beneath our objective discourse. What I'm talking now is look like a scientific objective discourse. But who knows what is behind my mind? It may come out, but unless you are good analyst, you will not be able to find out what is in my real intention. Just as our primal narcissism lurks beneath all our relations to others. We say, আমি আব্বাকে খুব ভালোবাসি, আম্মাকে খুব ভালোবাসি, কিন্তু যখন আসল পরীক্ষা আসবে তুমি সবচেয়ে বেশি কাকে ভালোবাসো? সবাই নিজেকেই সবচেয়ে বেশি ভালোবাসি। এটা নাম হচ্ছে প্রাইমাল নার্সিসিজম। But I love you only after I'm alive, not before that. Underlying both is that in real life we love ourselves more than our other relations. Similarly, in the language also, we love our archaic language, which is unreachable now, our what you call the pleasure principle driven unconscious language, then what I'm objectively speaking. So there are always a bifurcation in me, an archaic language and an objective language. So like my primal self-oriented self-interest and my relation with others. In both cases this is split. It says this, underlying both is an illusion of autonomy, objectivity, stability. Then I think that, oh, what I am thinking is I, but I do not know that someone else is guiding me. Objectivity, stability and autonomy, according to Lacan, are all illusions. people say that I'm objective, and we have so-called objective type examination. They are all subjective in some sense.